Okay, so are you ready for this? Because we are diving deep today
Always ready?
into some seriously thought-provoking stuff.
Okay, bring it on.
Have you ever heard of this guy, Neville Goddard?
Oh, yeah.
He was like this mid-20th century mystic who basically said, forget everything you think you know about reality.
Interesting.
He believed we're not just like shaped by the world around us, but that our assumptions
Right.
actually like create our reality. Isn't that wild?
It is fascinating.
Yeah.
And what's even more intriguing is that Goddard didn't just
Yeah.
present this as some, feel-good philosophy.
Right.
He actually called it a law,
Wow.
like a fundamental principle of existence, just like gravity.
A law.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. So how does this law actually work?
Well, think of it this way.
Okay.
Your mind is like a projector,
Okay.
and your assumptions are the film.
Okay.
Whatever you're projecting out into the world,
Yeah.
that's what you experience.
So it's not like some outside force deciding our fate.
Nope.
We're actually holding the remote control
You got
to our own lives.
exactly.
That's both incredibly empowering
Yeah.
and kind of terrifying at the same time.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It puts the responsibility
Yeah.
squarely on us.
Right.
And Goddard goes even deeper,
Oh, boy.
talking about the power of imagination,
Okay.
not as mere daydreaming,
Right.
but as a force that literally shapes our reality.
Hold on.
Hmm.
Are we saying that just by imagining something, it can actually happen?
That's the idea.
That sounds a little too
Right.
good to be true.
Well, it's not just about thinking it.
Okay.
It's about truly believing it.
Right.
It's about shifting your entire internal reality,
Okay.
your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, to align with what you desire.
So it's more than just positive thinking.
Exactly.
Right. We can't just slap on a happy face
Yeah.
and expect our problems to magically disappear.
Not quite that easy.
Yeah.
Goddard talks about the importance of
Okay.
assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled.
Assuming the feeling.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not enough to just vaguely hope for something.
Right.
You actually need to inhabit the emotional state
Okay.
of already having it.
So if you want a new job,
Yeah.
you wouldn't just picture yourself
Right.
getting the offer letter. You'd actually imagine yourself working there.
Exactly.
Feeling the excitement of the new role. The
Yeah.
satisfaction of a
Yeah.
job well done.
Precisely.
Wow.
The more you can embody that feeling,
Yeah.
the more you convince your subconscious mind that it's already a reality.
Right.
And that's when things start to shift
Okay.
in the external world.
Okay. I'm starting to see how this works, but how do we know?
Yeah.
This isn't just wishful thinking.
All right.
Are there any
Yeah,
real life examples of this law?
absolutely.
In fact,
Goddard shared numerous stories of people who used this principle
yeah.
to transform their lives.
Ooh, tell me more.
Okay,
I love a good story.
one that really stands out is about a woman
Okay.
who was struggling to rent out her apartment.
Okay.
She was stressed, hadn't found a tenant for months,
Oh no.
and was starting to panic.
Yeah.
Goddard advised her to simply assume it was already rented.
Just assume it.
Yeah.
Like fake it till you make it.
In a way, yeah.
Okay.
He told her to imagine
Yeah.
a friend congratulating her
Uh-huh.
on finding a tenant,
Right.
to feel the relief
Yeah.
and gratitude as if it had already happened.
Okay, and what happened?
Well,
Did she actually find a tenant?
she did.
Oh.
The very next day, she got a call,
Really?
and the apartment was rented.
Wow.
It's a simple example,
Yeah.
but it illustrates the power
Right.
of shifting your assumptions,
Right.
even in seemingly mundane situations.
Wow. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
But wasn't that just a coincidence?
Well, Goddard would argue
Mm.
that there are no coincidences,
Okay.
that everything is a reflection of our inner state.
Okay.
Remember, he insisted that we need to
Okay.
believe in the unseen more than the seen.
Oh, wow.
Our current circumstances
Yeah.
are the result of our past assumptions.
Okay.
To change our future,
Right.
we have to assume beyond what's currently visible.
So it's like planting a seed.
Yeah.
You don't keep digging it up to check if it's sprouted.
Right.
You trust the process,
Mm-hmm.
nurture it,
Yeah.
and eventually it breaks through the soil.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And speaking of trusting the process,
Okay.
that brings us to another important point.
Mm.
Persistence.
Right.
Goddard emphasized that changing deeply ingrained assumptions
Yeah.
takes time and unwavering faith.
So it's not like you affirm something once
Nope.
and poof,
Right.
your life is instantly transformed. You have to keep at it. even when you don't see immediate results.
Exactly.
That reminds me of the story about the prisoner
Yeah.
you told me about earlier.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
That story is a powerful example
Right.
of how persistence,
Yeah.
even in the face of seemingly impossible circumstances, can lead to remarkable outcomes.
Right.
This prisoner was facing a long sentence,
Gosh.
but every night he would imagine himself walking free.
Wow.
He had no idea how it would happen,
Right.
but he refused to give up on his vision.
So inspiring.
And eventually he was released.
He was.
He was an unexpected legal change,
Wow.
granted him his freedom.
That's amazing.
Now, was it just a coincidence?
Yeah.
Or did his persistent assumption somehow pave the way
Right.
for that change to occur? Goddard would argue the latter.
Wow. These stories are definitely making me think differently
Yeah.
about the power of my own thoughts and beliefs. But what about someone who's stuck in a negative spiral? Let's say they've been struggling financially for years.
Right.
Are we saying they can just think their way to wealth and abundance?
It's not quite that simple.
Right.
It's not about denying reality
Right.
or pretending that challenges don't exist.
Okay.
But by focusing on lack and limitation,
Yeah.
they're essentially feeding those assumptions
Right.
and perpetuating that cycle.
So they're unintentionally
Yeah.
using this law
Yeah,
against themselves. right?
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like they're projecting a film of scarcity
Uh-huh.
and hardship onto the screen of their lives.
So how do they change the film?
That's the question.
Right.
Yeah.
How do they shift their focus from lack to abundance?
Well, that's where the real work begins.
Okay.
It's about identifying the limiting assumptions that are holding them back
Right.
and consciously choosing
Yeah.
to replace them with assumptions that empower them.
So instead of dwelling on debt and financial worries, they'd focus on feeling abundant and prosperous.
Exactly.
Even if their current circumstances don't reflect that yet.
Precisely.
Okay.
And that's what we see in the story
Right.
of the businessman
Yeah.
who turned his financial struggles around.
Yeah.
He was facing bankruptcy,
Oh, wow.
but he refused to give in to despair.
For him.
He started visualizing successful deals,
Okay.
business expansion,
Yeah.
a life of financial freedom.
So he didn't focus on what he didn't have.
Nope.
Focused on what he wanted to have.
Right.
Even though it seemed impossible at the time.
Exactly.
Wow.
And guess what? Opportunities started appearing.
Why?
His business flourished effortlessly,
That's amazing.
all because he shifted his internal focus
Wow.
from lack to abundance.
I'm sensing a pattern here. It's almost as if
Mm-hmm.
by choosing to focus on what we want,
Right.
even before we see it, in our external reality,
Yeah.
we're somehow drawing it closer.
That's the essence of Goddard's teachings.
Wow.
He believed that our assumptions are like magnets,
Okay.
attracting experiences that match our inner state.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Wow.
pretty powerful stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
So this law isn't just about like attracting material things, right?
What?
Like money or a new apartment.
No.
It applies to like
Yeah.
all areas of life.
Absolutely, to our relationships, our health,
Right.
our careers, our self-image, basically anything you can think of.
Okay.
Remember the story about the man who
Uh,
was insecure about his physical appearance?
yeah. I remember you mentioning him.
Yeah.
He felt unattractive and assumed everyone else saw him that way too.
Exactly, and his belief was so ingrained
Wow.
that it affected everything.
Yeah.
His interactions with others,
Right.
his confidence, like everything.
Yeah.
Goddard advised him to shift his assumption,
Okay.
to imagine himself as someone who exuded charm and confidence.
So instead of trying to change his outward appearance, he focused on changing his inner perception
Exactly.
of himself.
Yes. He started carrying himself differently,
Wow.
speaking with more assurance,
Okay.
and most importantly, feeling attractive from the inside out.
Mm.
And the world responded accordingly.
So people started treating him differently.
Yeah, people were drawn to his newfound confidence,
Oh, yeah.
his charisma.
Right.
The same people who had previously overlooked him
Right.
now saw him in a whole new light.
It's like his internal shift created an external transformation. I'm
Yeah.
realizing how much our assumptions about ourselves, those internal narratives,
Right.
we often don't even realize we're telling ourselves, can have a ripple effect on our entire lives.
It's profound, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a reminder
Yeah.
that true transformation
Right.
starts from within.
Okay.
It's about recognizing the power of our inner world to shape our outer experiences.
But hold on.
Yeah.
Are we saying that our assumptions literally change the physical world around us?
Well,
Or is it more about how we perceive and interact with it?
Right.
Like if I assume I'll win the lottery, will the winning numbers magically appear
right.
on my ticket?
It's a question
Yeah.
that has been debated for centuries.
Right.
Some believe it's about a literal change
Okay.
in the external world,
Hmm.
while others focus on how our assumptions affect
Right.
our perceptions and choices,
No.
leading us to experiences that align with those assumptions.
Okay, so maybe I won't win the lottery just by thinking about it.
Probably not.
But if I believe I'm lucky
Okay.
and deserving of good things,
Right.
I might be more likely to notice opportunities, take risks,
Right.
or even just buy a lottery ticket
Just
in the
right.
first place.
Yeah, exactly.
Which could increase my chances of winning.
That's a great example
Yeah.
of how our assumptions, even on a subconscious level, can influence our behavior and create self-fulfilling prophecies.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
There's a concept in psychology
Yeah.
called confirmation bias, where we tend to seek out and interpret information
Okay.
in a way that confirms our existing beliefs.
So if I believe I'm unlucky,
Uh-huh.
I'll probably focus on all the negative things that happened to me,
Right.
reinforcing that belief.
Exactly.
But if I assume I'm a lucky person,
Okay.
I'll be more likely to notice and appreciate the good things,
Right.
which further strengthens that assumption.
Precisely. And this ties back to the
Gotcha.
power of awareness.
Right.
By becoming more conscious of our assumptions, we can start to challenge and reshape them,
Right.
creating a more empowering reality.
I'm starting to see how this all connects. It does feel a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like we're constantly bombarded with information and external influences
Right.
that try to shape our beliefs. How do we even begin?
It's a valid point.
Yeah.
We are constantly exposed to messages and beliefs from our families, our culture, the media, and so on.
Right.
But Goddard emphasized that despite all of this,
Okay.
we still have the ultimate power, the power to choose what we assume.
So even if we grew up believing certain things about ourselves or the world, we're not stuck with those beliefs forever.
Not at all.
Okay.
We can choose to challenge those beliefs,
Okay.
to question their validity,
Right.
and to consciously replace them
Okay.
with assumptions that better serve us.
But how do we actually do that?
That's the question, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to say change your assumptions,
Right.
but it's another thing to actually make that shift.
Well, one powerful technique Goddard recommended is paying attention to our emotional responses.
Okay.
Our feelings are often a clue to our underlying assumptions.
So if we're feeling anxious or insecure, that's a sign that we might be holding a limiting assumption.
Exactly. Let's say you feel nervous every time
Okay.
you have to speak in public.
Yeah.
That anxiety could be a sign
Okay.
that you're holding a subconscious assumption.
Right.
Like, I'm not a good speaker,
Right.
or people will judge me negatively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead of just trying to suppress those feelings, we should dig deeper and explore what assumptions might be driving them.
Precisely. It's like those feelings are a signal pointing us toward the assumptions that need to be examined
Yeah.
and potentially recalibrated.
That's a really helpful way to look at it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's almost like our emotions are a compass
Okay.
guiding us toward greater self-awareness.
You got it.
And once we've identified
Right.
those limiting assumptions, we can begin the process of replacing them with more empowering ones.
So if I have that fear of public speaking, instead of assuming I'm a bad speaker, I could choose to assume
Right.
I'm a captivating speaker who can engage any audience.
Exactly. And the more you embody that assumption through visualization affirmations, practicing your speaking skills,
Right.
the more those feelings of confidence will start to replace the anxiety.
But what about those times when negative experiences or setbacks happen?
Sure.
Let's say you give a presentation
Okay.
and it doesn't go as well as you hoped.
Right.
Does that mean your positive assumption was wrong?
Not necessarily. Remember, it's about persistence.
Okay.
One setback doesn't negate
Yeah.
the positive assumption you've been cultivating. It's like learning to ride a bike.
Okay.
You might fall a few times,
Right.
but that doesn't mean you should give up
Right.
on riding altogether.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's about seeing those setbacks as opportunities for growth for refining our assumptions.
Yes.
And our approach.
And that's where another technique
Okay.
Goddard recommended comes in.
Okay.
He called it revision.
Mm.
And it's about consciously revising any past events or experiences that contradict our desired assumptions.
Wait, are we talking about rewriting history?
Not literally rewriting history,
but
revising our internal experience of it.
Okay.
Let's say you gave that presentation.
Okay.
And you stumbled over your words a few times.
Right.
Instead of replaying those moments of awkwardness in your mind, you'd revisit the scene in your imagination and rewrite it with a more positive outcome.
So I'd imagine myself delivering the presentation flawlessly.
Yes.
Feeling confident and connecting with the audience.
Yeah, exactly. By revising the scene in your mind.
Okay.
You're essentially neutralizing the negative emotions associated with the original experience and replacing them with the feelings aligned with your desired reality.
I've actually heard of something similar in therapy.
Oh, really?
Where you revisit a traumatic memory.
Okay.
And reframe it with a more empowering narrative.
Yes, it's a similar concept.
Right.
It's not about denying
Yeah.
or suppressing difficult experiences.
Okay.
It's about choosing how we want to remember
Okay.
and internalize them.
It's like we're becoming the editors of our own life stories.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
And remember, it's not about pretending that negative experiences didn't happen.
Right.
It's about consciously choosing where to focus our energy on the reality we want to create.
Right.
Rather than dwelling on the aspects we want to change.
So it's about being mindful of the narratives we're telling ourselves, both about our past and our present, and consciously choosing narratives that empower us and move us closer to our goals.
You've got, and this all ties back to the power of our assumptions.
Right.
By revising our past experiences.
Right.
We're essentially changing our assumptions about ourselves and our capabilities.
This is all starting to make so much sense.
Yeah.
It's like we've been handed these incredibly powerful tools for shaping our reality.
Right.
But we've either been unaware of them or hesitant to use them to their full potential.
Yeah.
It's exciting and a little daunting at the same time.
It is a radical concept.
Yeah.
But the more you explore it, the more it starts to resonate at a deeper level.
Okay.
It's about understanding that we're not just passive observers in our lives.
Right.
We're active creators.
Okay.
And our assumptions are the building blocks of our reality.
Okay, so we've talked about identifying our assumptions, challenging the limiting ones, replacing them with more empowering ones.
Yeah.
We've also touched upon revision as a way to reframe past experiences.
Exactly.
Are there any other
Let me think.
practical techniques that Goddard recommended for putting all of this in action?
Yes. Actually, one of his most emphasized techniques is called the state akin to sleep.
State akin to sleep.
Or SATs for short.
Okay, that sounds pretty intriguing.
Right.
Tell me more.
It's all about harnessing the power of our subconscious mind, which is most receptive when we're in that drowsy state between wakefulness and sleep.
Ah, that twilight zone.
Right.
Where logic takes a back seat and our imaginations run wild.
Exactly, Goddard suggested.
Okay.
Using this time to impress our desired assumptions upon our subconscious.
So instead of counting sheep or worrying about tomorrow's to-do list, we use those precious moments before drifting off to consciously plant the seeds of the reality we want to create.
You got it.
Wow.
The key is to construct a scene in your mind that implies the fulfillment of your desire. Don't focus on how it will happen.
Right.
Just imagine the end result.
Okay.
The feeling of already having what you want.
So if I'm dreaming of landing my dream job, I wouldn't visualize myself going through the interview process, stressing over questions or waiting anxiously for a response.
Exactly.
I'd imagine myself already working there, collaborating with my team, feeling competent and successful in the role.
Precisely. You might picture yourself sitting at your new desk.
Okay.
Engaging in stimulating conversations with colleagues. Experiencing that sense of accomplishment and fulfillment.
So it's like creating a mental movie night.
I love that.
For our subconscious mind. Where we're screening the film of our desired reality right before we drift off to sleep.
And the more consistently we screen this film, the more our subconscious mind starts to accept it as truth.
Okay.
and working behind the scenes to bring it into manifestation.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. This is all so fascinating.
It is.
But I have to admit, a part of me still wonders if this is all just a bit too good to be true.
It's understandable to be skeptical.
Yeah.
Especially when we've been conditioned to believe the reality is fixed.
Right.
That we're largely at the mercy of external circumstances. But Goddard's teachings challenge that paradigm, inviting us to consider the possibility that we have far more creative power than we realize.
I appreciate you acknowledging that. It's a lot to take in, and I think it's healthy to approach these ideas with a balance of openness and critical thinking.
Absolutely. Blind faith without critical thinking can be just as limiting as cynicism that shuts down any possibility of something beyond our current understanding.
Okay, so let's say I'm ready to embrace this concept and start experimenting with these techniques. What's the first step?
Well, the first step is simply becoming more aware of your assumptions. Start paying attention to your thoughts, your self-talk, the stories you tell yourself about yourself and the world.
So it's about tuning in to that inner monologue.
Exactly.
That's often running on autopilot in the background.
And then ask yourself, are these assumptions serving me? Are they aligned with the reality I want to create?
And if they're not, then it's time to start exploring those techniques we talked about. Challenging those limiting beliefs, replacing them with more empowering ones, and using tools like visualization. And revision to shift our inner reality.
That's right. It's about becoming more conscious of the creative power we hold within. And using it to shape our lives in a more deliberate and fulfilling way.
This has been an incredible conversation.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm already feeling my perspective shifting, opening up to possibilities I hadn't considered before. I have a feeling this is going to be a journey of ongoing exploration and discovery.
It is a journey. And it's one that's unique to each individual. There's no right or wrong way to do it. The key is to be open to the process. To trust your intuition. And to have fun with it. It's an adventure.
It is. I think I'm still processing everything.
I know it's a lot.
We've talked about. But I'm definitely feeling more and more intrigued by this whole idea of assumptions shaping reality.
It is a powerful concept.
It's a lot to wrap my head around. But it also feels incredibly empowering.
It is empowering, It's like you suddenly have this incredible toolbox that you never knew existed.
Exactly. And speaking of tools, we were just talking about the state akin to sleep technique or assets and how it can help us impress our desires on our subconscious mind. Can you walk me through how to actually use this technique? I'm ready to start putting this into practice.
So as we mentioned, the ideal time for Ibisokieset is right before you fall asleep when your mind is relaxed and transitioning into that dreamy state.
So I'm snuggled in. Bed lights are dimmed.
Perfect.
Starting to feel that delicious drowsiness setting in.
All right. The key is to create a scene in your mind that implies the fulfillment of your desire. Let's say your goal is to get a promotion at work.
I'm visualizing it. I'm in my boss's office. And he's congratulating me on my promotion. Telling me how impressed he is with my work. And handing me a letter. Outlining my new responsibilities, and of course my increased salary.
That's a great start. Now, here's the important part. Instead of just picturing the scene from a detached perspective, try to actually step into the scene and feel the emotions you would experience in that moment.
I'm feeling a surge of pride and accomplishment. I'm feeling the weight of that promotion letter in my hands. And I can almost hear my colleagues cheering for me in the background.
The more you can embody those feelings, the more effectively you're impressing that desired reality upon your subconscious mind. It's not just about seeing it, it's about feeling it, experiencing it as if it's already happening.
So it's like a full sensory immersion into my desired reality, engaging all my senses. Sight, sound, touch. Even smell and taste if possible.
If you can.
To make it feel as real as possible.
You got it. The more vivid,
Wow.
and emotionally charge the scene,
Yeah.
the more powerfully it will resonate with your subconscious mind.
So I've created this scene. I'm feeling all the positive emotions.
Yes.
And I'm drifting off to sleep.
Okay.
What happens next?
So
does my subconscious mind just magically take over and make my promotion a reality?
It's not quite magic, but it's definitely a powerful process.
Yeah.
By repeatedly impressing this desired reality upon your subconscious mind, you're essentially reprogramming your beliefs and expectations.
So instead of waking up feeling stressed about work and doubting my abilities, I'll start to approach my day with more confidence.
Exactly.
Knowing that I'm on the path to that promotion.
And that shift in your attitude and belief will start to manifest in your actions. Your interactions with colleagues, and even in the opportunities that present themselves.
It's almost as if by aligning my inner world with my desired outcome, I'm creating a magnetic pull that draws that outcome closer.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about creating a resonance between your inner and outer worlds.
Yeah.
So they start to vibrate in harmony.
This all makes so much sense.
Good.
And I'm excited to start experimenting with SAPs tonight.
Great.
But I'm also wondering about the other technique. You mentioned revision.
Oh, yes.
Can you remind me
of course
how that works and how it fits into this whole framework?
So as we discussed earlier, revision is about consciously revisiting past experiences that might contradict your desired assumptions and rewriting them.
It's like we're becoming the editors of our own life stories.
Yes.
So let's say I'm working on building my confidence, but I keep replaying this memory of a time when I completely froze up during a presentation. That memory is feeding my self-doubt and making it harder to embrace the assumption that I'm a confident and capable speaker.
That's a perfect example of when revision would be helpful. Instead of dwelling on that memory in all its agonizing detail, you would go back to that scene in your imagination and rewrite it with a different outcome.
So instead of remembering myself stumbling over my words and feeling flustered, I imagine myself delivering the presentation smoothly.
Yes.
Engaging the audience and feeling a sense of accomplishment afterward.
Exactly. You're essentially replacing the old disempowering memory with a new, more empowering one.
It's like giving my subconscious mind a software update.
I love that.
Replacing the old limiting program with a new one that supports my desired reality.
And here's the thing. Your subconscious mind doesn't actually know the difference between a real memory and an imagined one. It just accepts whatever you feed it.
Wow.
As truth.
So even though I know I'm rewriting history, my subconscious mind will start to believe this new version of events.
Exactly.
And that will in turn start to influence my beliefs and behaviors in the present.
Precisely. By consistently revising those past experiences that don't align with your desired assumptions. You're essentially clearing out the old limiting beliefs that are holding you back and making space for new empowering ones to take root.
Wow, this is all starting to feel very practical and actionable.
Good.
It's not just some esoteric philosophy.
Right.
It's a set of tools and techniques that we can use to create real change in our lives.
That's exactly what Goddard intended.
Wow.
He wanted to empower people to take control of their lives. To understand that they are not victims of circumstance, but active creators of their reality.
This has been such a mind-expanding deep dive. We've explored the power of assumptions, learned about techniques for shaping our reality, and discovered the incredible potential that lies within each of us.
And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought-provoking question. If your assumptions create your reality, what reality are you choosing to assume into existence?
That's a powerful question to reflect on.
It is.
Thank you for guiding me on this journey.
You're very welcome.
I have a feeling this is just the beginning of a much deeper exploration.
It is. The journey continues.
It does.
Remember, the power to create the life you desire lies within you. Choose your assumptions wisely, nurture them with intention, and watch your reality transform.
Thank you.
You're welcome.